from each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are, from memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried, and with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight, reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey. And we are back today with the 76th Disney feature-length film from August the 18th of the year 1965. It is a film called The Monkey's Uncle. The Monkey's Uncle is a live-action film. It is a sequel to The Misadventures of Merlin Jones that we deep dove semi-recently. It is also the final appearance of the one and only Mr. Tommy Kirk, who was in many, actually 11 to be exact,
I was just going to ask you if you counted how
films in a row. He had actually gotten let go before this film, but since the success of the Misadventures of Merlin Jones, they brought him back for one more film. And then this is also the end of Annette Funicello, our friend Annette Funicello, for Disney feature-length films, but she does come back for some what's the word for it? Like Disney Channel original movies that we will be covering in 1985, so a bunch of years from now. As we mentioned, this is the sequel to The Misadventures of Merlin Jones, so maybe we'll like this more. We will find out. But before I dive into the opening credits and all that fun stuff, do you want to start us off with a synopsis or some opening thoughts or fun stuff like that?
A student is able to save Midvale College football reputation using his radical invention.
Yeah, there's a lot more to this film than just that, but yeah, I guess that's a synopsis.
I really enjoy these synopses sometimes. It's like almost a complete overview of your entire movie, or just barely nothing.
Any thoughts? Any facts? Would you like me to kick us off?
Go ahead.
All right. So in the opening credits, we see that there's a band playing the intro song.
At a dance.
At a dance, Annette is singing, and it's recorded by the Beach Boys. Mm-hmm. The whole school is dancing. And then when the film starts, just like the other films kind of ended, we see Merlin Jones. He's in front of the judge. He's in front of the judge again. A little bit of a backstory. If you remember from the previous films, he was in front of the judge a lot. The judge is also like a crime writer. So we'll go from there. So he is in front of the judge this time because he is trying to adopt the chimpanzee from the other film.
Stanley.
He's trying to, Stanley the chimp. He's trying to give the chimpanzee the advantages of a good home. We see Jennifer, which is Annette Funicello's character, who's holding Stanley the chimp in the audience. And then she presents as a witness. Mm-hmm. The judge, however, does deny the adoption, but he grants him guardianship as the monkey's uncle. Mm-hmm. There we go. He's the monkey's uncle. So the premise of the film...
But did it really ever say like why he denied him?
Yeah, because he was a single man.
But like there wasn't any other...
Well, no, because the monkey's like not of like a stable mind to like make the decision or whatever. All right, so he is now the monkey's uncle. The end of the film. No, I'm just kidding. So the next scene, we see Stanley is watching television in Merlin's house. But Merlin's like, no, we got to do things the right way. He's got to brush his teeth before he goes to bed. Mm-hmm. But then the doorbell rings, so Merlin goes to answer the door. And then Stanley, who's brushing his teeth, accidentally knocks over the bubble bath into the running sink. So the whole entire bathroom fills up with bubbles.
It made an entire bubble disaster.
Mm-hmm. Funny story. I used to work at this, whatever. I work at the company I still work for, but I used to work in a different office. Across the street from there was like the Rotary, and there's like the fountain on it. And I always thought it'd be funny to like pour a bunch of bubbles in the fountain and see what happens. But I never did that.
Okay, so funny story also with bubbles. There was this fountain in Charlotte, North Carolina, in uptown, downtown Charlotte, anyway, around the Tryon area, if you're familiar with Charlotte. And I actually did dump an entire bottle
Well,
of
you
dish detergent
you stole my idea.
in there. Well, this is before I ever knew
Westfield,
you.
Massachusetts, over Charlotte,
This is
North Carolina.
before I ever knew you.
Whatever.
Hang on, don't cut me off.
Go ahead. I hope you get arrested from this. Deep dive in the magic pod at gmail.com.
Yeah, my accomplice was Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Anyway, the
statute of limitations
suds
is over.
Yeah, the suds out of it was hilarious, and it would just like blow tons of bubbles, and people loved it. Very entertaining. Anyway, that was my bubble disaster, and it did remind me of that. But he never did it, and I did. So you're welcome.
Yeah, because I am an upstanding citizen.
Whatever. One of us just follows through on our intrusive thoughts sometimes.
Yeah, whatever. So the whole bathroom is full of bubbles. Merlin goes to answer the door. It's Jennifer, who's like, want to go on a date, but Merlin's like, hang on a date because
she wants to go to the movies.
Yeah. I love Jennifer, but she wants to go out on a date.
I just like her.
And I mean, there's some worse ladies in some films that we've watched recently.
I enjoy Merlin.
Yeah, he's fine. So he can't go on a date because he's like, I have this chimp, and then she's like, all right, in the future we're gonna get a babysitter. Fine. So they go in and they hear all this commotion, so they go back into the bathroom and they see all the bubbles, and they see that Stanley is like chimpanzeeing. He's hanging from the shower rod, and he's like shooting shaving cream everywhere, so he's just making a mess. So they're like, all right, well, it's time for bed. So they put these curlers in Stanley's hair, but not to make him the most lovely looking belle at the ball. They want to like use these curlers. They're like sleep therapy, like sleep learning devices. He
has them attached to like his invention.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really like they're curling his hair. It's more like if you're having an EEG and it's electrode stuck to your head, but it's curlers.
Yeah, but it's like telling them like in the morning you're gonna brush your teeth, you're gonna start the water, you're gonna turn off the alarm clock, you're gonna wake me up. Like they're just trying to teach the chimpanzee some stuff. So the next morning, Stanley, like he was instructed the night before, he turns off the alarm clock, and he follows all of the sleep learning commands, even going as far as throwing water on Merlin to wake him up as instructed.
Well, he wasn't instructed to throw water on him, but he was told to wake him up.
He wasn't waking up.
He tried to wake him up, and then he didn't wake up, so he dumped the water on him.
So it cuts to the next scene, and we see that there's a Midvale College like board meeting, and the judge is getting there for the board meeting. They are arguing about football. They're talking about how there's like everyone's cheating on exams, and that they have to like crack down on cheating on exams. This one dude is like all against football, but the judge is all for football.
Because he played football for Midvale College.
Yeah. But the big thing is that they're cheating on exams. So then the judge goes to like the football team, and like some guy who's in charge of the football team, not the coach, but like I don't know who he was, but like
maybe he was the captain.
Yeah, no, because he was like an adult. The guy that like the guy wearing a
really
suit.
Because he looked younger than the other two people.
But whatever. So it was like
I took it as he was the captain or something.
I don't know, but I don't think so. But he then warns the team about the crackdown on the football players cheating, and they're all like nervous because if they fail, then they're not going to be able to play football anymore. So like football is doomed. Whatever. This judge clearly loves to cheat, so they're like, all right, well, we have to figure out a way to be able to cheat honestly. So they're like, all right, we're going to have Merlin Jones teach us how to cheat honestly. So then the next scene, randomly, Merlin Jones and Jennifer get invited to the Moo Moo dance. And the Moo Moos are like, it's like a fraternity. That's what I was going to say. So, but it's like a fraternity of all like the jocks and the popular kids. And Jennifer's all excited. So they're like, all right, now we're going to get a sitter for Stanley, and we're going to go to this Moo Moo dance. The sitter shows up, and it's like this like attractive girl, like
blonde girl.
Yeah, Merlin is like ogling over her. Yeah, it's like all excited.
Jen's not happy.
Yeah, no. So they go to this dance, and like Merlin and Jennifer are like the popular people at this dance because they're like trying to win him over. They're trying to win over Merlin. They're exceedingly interested in Merlin Jones, is what they said. They try to convince him to join and to help them cheat in an honest way, of course. He doesn't want to help people who don't want to study, and he refuses. But then Jennifer likes this attention, so she like romantically tries to convince him to give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I didn't miss anything there. So then Merlin decides that he's going to go back to the gentleman, including the judge, and he says that he knows a way for them to cheat. Honestly, and he's like, we're gonna use sleep therapy or sleep learning like the chimp did.
Mm-hmm.
So they take the two jocks, the dudes that look like they're in their mid-50s and they're at this college. It's the same jocks from the last one. I don't remember their names, but both of their names are the same names that they are in real life.
Nice.
Norman, I think, is one of them.
Yeah.
But so whatever, these dudes are like, oh, we get to learn while we're sleeping. They love sleeping or whatever, so they go to sleep. And but this time they decided that they were gonna have Jennifer read off the answers, like the studying, because the dudes find her voice attractive or whatever. So the next morning, when it comes time for like the verbal questioning, so they ask the jock, Norman, I guess,
the bigger burly one.
Yeah, the one that was like the chimp's owner in the last one, and then one before that, the one that was like trying to take Jennifer out on a date.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, so the teacher asks the jock the question, and he goes to answer the question, and he answers it perfectly, correct, but his voice instantly turns into Jennifer's voice, like he exudes the
and
answer.
She's sitting in this class, and she's just like,
yeah, everybody. So like he exudes, but it's Jennifer's voice, so everyone is laughing at him.
Yeah,
everyone's laughing at him, and it doesn't work. So like he's like the laughing stock. But they're like, oh, don't worry, like we can't get caught on the written exam, because the written exam, it won't come out that Jennifer's voice or whatever. So it's time for the test, and there's like this whole investigation of like cheating, where like this like dude is sitting like in the ceiling, like watching with like a telescope, and he's like getting like all these like electric like codes and stuff in like this very like Inspector Gadget type way.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing this like he's spying on the cheaters basically. And at one point Merlin like scratches his ear or like sneezes or something.
Yeah, so Merlin basically has what looks like a case of the itchies.
Mm-hmm.
He's like scratching his ear and then doing his nose. Then he'll scratch his other ear, and it's like, what's going on? Did he sneeze or something?
I don't know.
Too? Anyway, the test prompter is just like watching Merlin, like, what is he doing? And opens up a drawer and then hits a button of what seat corresponds to Merlin's seat. And that's when the guy starts from the ceiling and starts watching him.
So after the test, the jocks are all excited because they've seen that they've passed, and they're all like celebrating Merlin.
Mm-hmm. They're like, I actually knew all the answers.
Mm-hmm. But they're like, forget your 90%, we got 100%. And then but then like the dude calls in to like give like the test scores to like the Moo people,
mm-hmm.
and the two jocks and Merlin shockingly all receive Fs.
Because they all made 100%.
Well, we'll get there on that. So right now they're like Fs, and then they get a call that they have to present in front of the board after cheating. And this is where it comes out that they thought that Merlin was giving them signals because of the itchies, and that all the jocks' answers were word for word the same as Merlin's answers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like,
but how you're going to do a written test and your answers are going to be word for word, and you got that from I scratched my left ear is beyond me.
Yeah, so they're like these dudes' answers are word for word with him, so they all fail. But then they're like, no, we use sleep learning, and they're like, you cheated, and they're like, no, we cheated legally, like honestly. We use sleep learning. He's trying to explain, the judge is trying to explain the learning process. The board doesn't believe him. So then they're like, all right, we have to think on it, such and such. And then Merlin is all upset that he's going to get expelled from school. And like, obviously homeboy loves school. So he's all gloomy and he's all back, and he's like, he gets dropped off by Jennifer, and he's like complaining to Lisa, the babysitter. But she's like, "Oh, I want to try sleep learning."
Mhm.
She's like, "If the chimp can do it, I want to do this."
Mhm.
So then she spends the night to learn the sleep learning.
And he does not do any of the classes or lectures that they did before. She gets the original
Yeah,
Stanley
the chimpanzee
pilot
one.
run.
Yeah, the pilot run. So then come the morning time, she's doing like the commands, which was like turn off alarm clock, turn on the shower,
Make coffee.
make coffee. So then, but she's like in her pajamas walking into the bathroom, and Jennifer comes over to like pick up Merlin, and she's like,
She sees her going into the bathroom.
"Oh, what is this?"
Slaps Merlin.
Slaps Merlin, yells at Lisa, and causes a big fight.
Mhm.
So then, but then Lisa and Jennifer end up. I don't remember how. Oh, because like he like chooses Stanley over both of them, so like the two of them end up ganging up on Merlin. So like, they're not mad at each other anymore. They're ganging up on Merlin.
I would have picked Stanley over both of them also.
So they
He's way nicer.
the two girls leave, and Merlin's like, "I'm getting thrown out of school, and I just lost this all. Like what did I do?" But then his phone rings, and Judge calls Merlin to get to his house as soon as possible, and he's like, "Oh, here we go." Like, but that's when he gets to the judge's house to find out that the verdict of sleep learning was actually honest, and they throw this big celebration for Merlin, and Lisa and Jennifer were in on it, and they're actually there to like, he's a jolly good fellow, him, and Stanley was playing the piano and all that, and then the that's the first half of the film.
It's
Stanley's playing the piano. So kind of like the first one, there's two parts to this one, and then so we start off with like the board meeting is like this half is ridiculous. The board is meeting about someone wants to give the school $1 million to abolish football. Like the school like needs money. So that like this dude clearly hates football because he didn't make the team. So he's like,
think about it. This school, since the first film, has struggled with needing money.
It's true.
Should you have went to this school? Should you have enrolled in the school? Is it really that prestigious? Probably not.
Well, the other school needed money too. What was the other school with like the
I don't remember, but transfer to a different school.
Oh, the absent-minded professor one. The flubber dude, like that one needed money too. But so whatever, like so someone's offering the school $1 million to abolish football. So the judge is all upset about how the school is losing football. So he goes home, and then like the
after they just saved football, teaching the football players how
to cheat,
study.
So he returns home, and like his like house lady was like, "Hey, there's a fancy man like in like the den that wants to talk to you." And he's like, "Oh, how can today get any worse?"
Yeah.
But this fancy man is like, "Hey, I want to leave a large endowment to the college." But he's like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Well, first I want to read you this book of poems that my grandfather wrote." So he reads him this poetry book from his grandfather about a flying man, like this man that was that could fly, and that basically he became like the laughing stock of the school. So he's like, if you can help me prove that my grandfather was correct about somebody being able to fly, he will give Midvale an endowment of $10 million. That is over $100 million today. So basically, long story short, if you can make a flying contraption that a man can fly, like in this poetry book, he's going to give Midvale $10 million. All right, we're up to date. Cool. So the judge is like, I had just the person. I have this genius Merlin Jones that can create it, and he's all stoked about the money, stoked about saving football. He's just like, we got this. So he's like, all right, we're gonna go over see Merlin at work. Merlin is his clumsy self. He's like spilling stuff on the rich man. But the guy's like, if Merlin can't do this, I'm gonna give my donation to the rival school. So like, all right, we're gonna make this we're gonna make this flying machine. They convince one of the jocks by pulling straws, the other jock to like be like the test dummy for this like flying contraption. Um, Leon is that guy's name, and like so like they're studying films. Um, Leon tries to escape, but he can't because they stole his keys. Jennifer like flirts with him to convince him to do it, and then they use sleep learning again to try to convince this dude that he's like a hawk. Like I think that Jennifer like sings to him on the thing.
Fly.
Yeah, like you can fly.
Because he is terrified to do this.
Yeah. So she sings to him in the sleep learning machine, and then in the dream he's flying with a bunch of geese like from those Callaways.
I still can't get over him being picked to do this.
He pulled like the longest straw possible.
Yeah, and the straw, the difference between it and the other ones was ridiculous. I think I made a comment when we were watching it.
True. Did you hear my joke about those Callaways?
Yes.
Geese. Canadian geese. Whatever, dude. So they strapped this dude into the flying
Maybe
contraption.
these people brush their teeth. Stanley does.
Oh my gosh. Go back to that episode for my rant about brushing your teeth.
Stanley did though.
Stanley did brush his teeth, and then he flooded the whole bathroom, kind of like you did. Arrest her. Over here. Vandalism.
I didn't.
Vandalism. The limit of statute.
I didn't overflow
or the statute of limitations is over now. So whatever. So they strap this dude into this flying contraption that looks like a cannon with wheels. Like it has like wings and like a bicycle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you like bicycle the rotor to fly or whatever. Does that make sense? Like it's like a Jennifer sings them the song again, and they're like driving in a car that like once they hit, I forget what it is, 60, 70 degrees or whatever.
65 miles an hour, I think.
Stanley pulls the rope, and then the thing takes off and it's flying.
Yeah.
And
can you imagine being Leon and having your safety in the hands of that chimp pulling it at the right time?
So but it's going awesome. He's flying through the sky, he's singing the song, and then all of a sudden they just forgot to iron out one piece. How do they land this machine? So then Leon snaps out of it. He starts to fall. So they're like, he's like, Merlin's like running with like this baby carriage. I don't even know what it is. Is that what it is? A baby carriage?
Yeah.
It's a pretty big baby carriage.
It's like an old school.
And he like pushes the baby carriage, and then the flying contraption comes and lands right on the baby carriage in perfect landing. But then he falls headfirst into like the
pig slop,
the hog pen. He says that he quits. He says KWIT, quits. Because clearly he didn't learn from that sleep therapy thing.
Well, maybe he wasn't taught how to spell.
That's true. They go to tell the judge the bad news. And judge is like, no, we can't. We're gonna lose this money. We have to do something about this. So then Jennifer, this is a weird scene. I don't know. This is a weird scene. Jennifer's like, oh, we just have to make a stronger man to be able to fly. Because like once the man doesn't become strong, that's when the problem comes in. So then Merlin like is like, that's great. And then he like tries to scare her. Like he's like a werewolf or whatever, and she like slaps him or punches him in the face. And then he's like, see, that's perfect. Once somebody's scared or strong enough, the adrenaline kicks in. And then so that then they end up punching somebody else, and it's like a whole big thing of because somebody thinks that like he's like abusing her, and then
he basically figures out that the key to this is going to be adrenaline. So he has to figure out how to control the adrenaline.
So they end up making some kind of like strength potion. They give the potion to Stanley, who becomes angry and strong. He like rips the heater off the wall. He's like smashing some science instruments, so it works. And then Merlin's like, all right, I'm going to do this myself. We don't need Leon anymore. So then he takes the liquid strength. And then the next morning, they bring the rich dude to watch the experiment. Merlin drinks the potion, and he enters the flying machine. Stanley cuts the rope, and Merlin successfully is soaring through the air, much to the delight of the rich man and the school board members. And he's like so excited that he writes them a check right then and there. And he's so excited that he decides that he's going to double it, $20 million. What would you do with $20 million? Or like an endowment?
If I got it,
Yeah.
I would pay off my student
Yeah, well,
loans
your
and
student loans aren't
retire.
quite $20 million, but
Exactly. That's why I
um,
said I would pay off my student loans and retire. I would pay off the house,
you know, like that
pay
meme,
off my car.
like that meme where it's like, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there'd be signs.
No, I wouldn't let anybody know.
There'd be signs.
I mean, I would just pay everything off.
Yeah.
And then I would just keep ordering things off Amazon. So I mean,
So whatever. So
it'll
$20 million
make
for
no
this check.
difference.
Check for 20 million bucks, and they're all excited,
Mhm.
happily ever after. But then this car pulls up, and these two like men come out. There's no other way to describe them besides like they're like the white coats,
Mhm.
right? Perfect.
They basically are the psychiatric institution's wards.
Yeah. So they're coming to pick up the man who is posing as a rich man. And they're
Mhm.
like, his generosity is outdone only by his poverty. Oops.
Yeah.
So he's like
They're like,
delusional,
you
kind
should
of.
be fine as long as he didn't offer you any money. He tried. He posed as a president or something at
Yeah.
one time and tried to give the whole state of something. I can't remember what it
Yeah.
was. And then they're like, well, as long as he didn't give you any money, and the guy was like, oh, and
20
the judge
million
runs
dollars.
over there and like grabs the check
Yeah.
from the people.
So then they yell up and they tell Merlin the news that it's all a fraud, and it causes him to crash through the shed into like the pig slop again.
Mhm.
So then at the same time, the gentleman from earlier is like, well, good, I'm gonna give you $1 million now to get rid of football. So he, like this dude comes up and the judge is all like sad, like, okay, we're gonna lose football, it's over. And then but the guy that's there to like give him the check to lose football is like, oh, here's my backer right here. And then the dude who was faking as the rich man writes him the check for $1 million, and everybody starts laughing because clearly he got frauded too.
Yeah.
And then the man, the fake rich man, the delusional man, like escapes the people trying to catch him on horseback, and they all run.
He
and
runs, jumps up from the back of the horse onto the horse, and then tally ho off into the, and it's like,
and
okay.
they all laugh, and that's the end of the film.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the end of the film?
Well,
or the film in general, I guess.
After we watched it, I think I asked you if you liked it better than the other one or not, and I couldn't decide if I did or not. And then I went ahead and rated it, and then I went back and looked, and apparently I did rate this one slightly lower, but I did like it still.
It was fun.
So it wasn't bad. It was definitely better than Emile.
Tommy Kirk went off on a high.
Yeah.
What did you rate it, or do you have any thoughts before you, or facts even before?
No, I did not look any of that stuff up. IMDb gave it a 5.8 out of 10.
That's low.
And I thought that was kind of interesting because Disney brought back Tommy Kirk after they let him go to make this sequel.
They also gave Emile a higher rating than this.
And this did not seem to hold up as well, I guess. But I did like it, but I didn't like it as good as I liked it. It was
like off the wall. It was kooky.
It definitely, I felt like, flowed better than the first one.
Coordinate.
Yeah. I gave it a 6 out of 10. So it wasn't terrible. But I guess I definitely liked the original better than the sequel. And I guess IMDb would also agree with me.
Did its sequel its way onto your list upon a star?
It was a failed experiment. It did not land on my list. Sorry.
So then what is
it was a complete bubble disaster.
What is your list? And do you have any Tommy Kirk representation out of the 15 million films he's been in so far? You do.
I do. The Shaggy Dog is still there. So
is he in Moon Pilot?
He's not in Moon Pilot.
Okay. All right. So what do you got?
So I've got 101 Dalmatians, The Parent Trap, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, Lady and the Tramp, The Three Caballeros, Moon Pilot, The Shaggy Dog, Tommy Kirk holding on, Peter Pan, And Alice in Wonderland.
So I also, this is also not making mine, but I also have Tommy Kirk on here in a higher situation than yours, because I have 101 Dalmatians, not Tommy Kirk. Mary Poppins, perfect, but not Tommy Kirk. Peter Pan, not
If it
Tommy
was so
Kirk.
perfect, it should have been one.
Well, 101 Dalmatians is my favorite Disney movie. Alice in Wonderland after Peter Pan, and then I have Babes in Toyland, which does have Tommy Kirk in it, on my list. And I have Pinocchio, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, and Lady and the Tramp. So that's a wrap for Tommy Kirk. That's sad, our friend. Annette will be back in a bunch of years. But yeah, that's the film. I would love to hear if you liked this one or the prequel better, or if you've even seen either of them. We are on Instagram. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube, where you could see our dog and cat join us, or you can see me drink out of this lovely mug out of every episode so far, or you can see these lovely sweatshirts that we are wearing with our logo on them. They'll be for sale probably in the next 20 years or something. I don't know. But thank you for joining us. We are deep diving the magicpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Mr. Andy Has a Band for our theme song. Thank you for all the love and support. And our next film, speaking of films that have a final film, somebody's been a bunch of films lately that's their final film for the company for a while. It is going to be Kaylee Mills' last film for a long time, and that is film number 77 from December the 2nd of 1965, and that is That Darn Cat. We will see you then for That Darn Cat.
Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.